Hello everyone, the new year has come and we have new projects. Today I will show you a car that we will be finalizing, perhaps it will be the best car in Ukraine. This is a BMW E30, a very old car, 1987, restyled. I'll tell you what kind of car it is. You may know that I love exclusive cars and I don't buy regular cars. I had an M3 in a 36 body in perfect condition which I successfully sold. I also had a Corvette, a Dodge Challenger Hellcat which I still have for sale in very good condition. And this time I bought my dream, let's see it from all sides. I think that you understood from the first frame that this is a very worthy copy. There are very few such cars. They can be found in the sedan, but I have not seen them in the coupe. Perhaps there is a coupe, but they are most likely in collections and in sales. I did not notice such. Let's tell you the history of this car, where I took it in such excellent condition. I'll start from afar. I've been looking for more than a year for a BMW E30 coupe, but I did not find it, but I found a sedan. I wrote to the owner to bargain, ask, and so on. And the owner recognized me. And it turned out that this person is my client who ordered a project from us 10 to 12 years ago. We built a Cadillac Escalade limousine with 6 wheels for him. We talked to him and he was very happy to know that I am interested in such cars and he really wants to know what will happen to the car next. Since a lot of money was invested in the car and just selling it for murder or drift was a pity. Apparently the owner did not really want to do this and we agreed with him. And I didn't drive for this car, they brought it to me on a tow truck. I paid for this car after 2 weeks and this is proof of the client's trust in me. I was immediately pleased with the car. The previous owner told me what needs to be changed. This is the power steering pump, it makes noise here. I don't know why it makes noise, but I already bought a new power steering pump and a new tank. A little later I will change everything and of course I will show you. If someone knows about the features of the BMW E30, for example, additional cooling, or something else needs to be installed, be sure to write in the comments, because the E30 is something new for me. Now I will insert frames so that you can see the initial state of the car. The car was in very good condition and was not a rotten gouge that needs to be welded and twisted everywhere, and after the car it can look like an apple core and then paint it, thereby pouring in a lot of money. The previous owner bought it in factory color, in almost perfect condition, and here is the video. Some time later, the previous owner completely restored the bottom. He also made a complete restoration of the body, the interior also, replaced the engine, and installed a cool running gear. But I will talk about this later. Let's see these shots. Auto without a single repaint, but there is one caveat. Here there is a dent. Slightly rusty arches. There was a spoiler. Here are a bunch of such nuances. Here you can see what is painted here, and that's all that was painted on this car. The arch is perfect and the bottom of the car is slightly tinted. There are a lot of such scratches, so we will repaint the car. Because of all this, you won't have to paint the car and score on factory painting. That's all, the car is in factory color. The roof is perfect. The car is going to be painted. The trunk is perfect. Nothing has been cleaned or painted. Before painting, we rolled out the arches to install wide tires. I think you understand how long the journey was. It was necessary to call on different masters, control the correctness of the process, buy every rubber band and fasteners, the correct running gear. Everything had to be read and seen what would then be installed, and everything came up. The previous owner said that he spent 3 years on the restoration of the car. For me it would be terrible. You can say that I could take any rotten coupe and restore it, but for me it would be very expensive. Because there is work, it needs to be done and earn money, but there is no time for toys. I will tune and rebuild this car with my own hands so as not to strain my team. This is my toy, and in my free time I will play with it. Let me introduce you to the prices of such cars on the market. A car that costs from $3,000 to $4,000 is everywhere welded and repainted and more or less drives. With prices of $6,000 to $8,000, cars are already better, but they are far from ideal. Cars worth $8,000 to $10,000 are already found in the factory color, but they are straight from the factory and have not been improved in any way, and the painting also wants the best, but you need to accept the fact that the car has not been repainted and, accordingly, has not been in accidents or somewhere else. And you can already look at cars over $10,000. I think that you understand that the prices for these cars are very different, from $1,000 to $25,000, and this is not a BMW M version. The M version will cost $50,000 and more. Since our channel is about the technical part of cars, I want to show you what I did to make the car look so good. Suspension HR, which gave -60 mm. That is, from the factory height, the car became lower by 6 centimeters. This seemed to the owner to be very low, and since the silencer was set very low when the speed bumps were moving, the silencer touched the object. And that height seemed very high to me. The back was higher than the front and it was ugly. I like when the car is smooth on all axles. I raised the muffler a bit and removed the spacers. Few people will notice, but for me it is important. The back of the body is higher than the front. That is, the car is standing like this, at an angle. This annoys me a lot. This lining is more than necessary. We will pull it out and think about what to do next. I wanted to reduce the thickness of that same lining by half. But you see that it didn't work out exactly, and I just spent a lot of time in vain. Then they told me that Daewoo Lanos has the same lining and bought it. The height is 9 millimeters. Here is what we got. The back has become a little lower, and over time I will understand enough or not. What else did I do with this car? Initially, I adjusted the gaps in the door locks as I needed. I set this up the way I wanted it and pushed the door in the way I wanted it too. I put the hood a little and now you see it all. Now I want to show you the salon. I have already said that the interior is altered, but not with an ordinary cloth. Leather on the sides, and in the center a special fabric from the M3 body. In some versions of the car, this fabric was included. I bought it on eBay. Here I inserted a photo so that it would be clear that the fabric is not cheap. The front sport seats are in very good condition. The rear seats are also very difficult, as the E30 has very different seat options. Seats with armrests and headrests. The rear shelf where the speakers are also not simple, with airflow, etc., and in very good condition. Next is the carpet. It is also not simple, hairy, in some color, and there are no scuffs anywhere, etc. This is excellent. All these seals are in perfect condition. The fabric part is also not worn and has not received damage. All plastic parts are in place. The front panel is also rare. There are no cracks on this one. Usually in the E30, the front panels crack over time. Also 4 automatic windows from the factory. All buttons from the factory. Also sunroof, new rubber bands, brand new engine, and everything works great. The former owner tried very well. You can talk about it for a very long time. What would you understand? A rear view mirror from the M3 with illumination. Look. The radio tape recorder is not from the factory, but I like to listen to music and it somehow plays. Because the radio from the factory is a cassette. When you turn it on, see what happens. If you thought that this car is finished, then you are very much mistaken. There will be a lot of cool improvements, investments will not be small, but it's love. What's up with the suspension now? Springs and shock absorbers from HR-60 mm. Also a short steering rack from the 46th body. 1.5 turns in both directions. This must be set, because in the E30 the steering wheel needs to be turned for a very long time. Also in the E30 the suspension is bad from the factory. We already have a thick front stabilizer, 20 mm, and a rear one set to 14 mm. But I think that you need to install a stabilizer at the back by 20 mm too. The muffler is normal, and when we bought this car, the former owner said that he would completely change the exhaust system and muffler. But I looked, everything is decent, there are no strange sounds and everything is fine. The sound is also normal, but it does not suit me. The decision will be further, the changes will be colossal. Reducer 2.93, wide with locks. And our axle shafts are also thick. Since this is a diesel car, everything here is very good from the factory. Front silent blocks are also offset. But this is to add castor to improve handling. I will also say that this car is better controlled than the M3 in the 36th body. On this car, I want to do all sorts of cool maneuvers that are life-threatening. Let me open the hood and show you what's in there. Under the hood, as you can see, everything is very good. All fasteners, clamps, everything is in its place. Plastics, rubber bands, hoses, tanks, plates, cars have already been re-registered. Engine with a volume of 3 liters M54. Someone says that the car has 230 horsepower from the factory, and someone 240, I don't know the exact answer. Now this car weighs about 1.2 tons, but this is not accurate. But of course I will weigh this car. But the car is 200 kilograms lighter than the 36th M3 body that I had. I weighed it. Now about the drag. I already measured this car. I made 3 attempts and I got 13.7 seconds. M3 in the 36th body in the factory state showed exactly the same time. But this is a temporary time for this car, because I am sure that when I change the manifolds, I will install larger runners, that is, these pipes of a larger diameter. The output will be 60 millimeters, and I want to change everything from below to 60 millimeters. I already bought a muffler. The inlet is 60 millimeters, the outlet is a little larger so that there are beautiful nozzles. We measure the speed, and of course I will show you screenshots of what we got after replacing the exhaust. Then I plan to put the M50 collector. It is more enlarged than the installed one. Most likely there will be difficulties in installation, but the new collector will give a very good result. Similar cars in the 30th body with such an engine gain 13 seconds per 100 kilometers per hour, which is very cool. Let me also remind you that the engine for the M3 costs from $500 to $600, and such an engine is very difficult to find. Such an engine as on our E30 costs about $1,200. In order to enjoy driving this car, one part is missing here. This is a strut bar for the steering idler. While these parts are crack-free, you need to install a strut bar. Let's do it. This is the same strut bar that we will install, completely new. That's all, the strut bar is where you need it and now you can drive and not worry that the steering idler will come off. What do I want to do now? This is a short shifter. In the BMW M3, I was completely satisfied with the short shifter, but in this car something is missing, the detail is felt too softly. This lever is a little rubberized and has a little backlash, maybe the bushings or something are broken there. I understand that this car is different from the M3 and I want to improve the short shifter. I bought a Chinese short shifter for $25, it's inexpensive. And I want to install it. I've already looked at the reviews and everything seems to be not bad. For example, shorter travel, easier shifting, etc. Let's do it. I would like a slightly shorter path, until the bushings are broken, everything is fine, and when they are broken, then this hump goes to the side. Before installing the short shifter, I collected some information. When you insert a short shifter into the space provided for this, some cars may have backlash. In order to remove them, you need to remove these rubber bands. You can see that a thick elastic band and two small ones were installed here. Now I will install two thick elastic bands, and everything should fit. But that is not all. The size of these plastic bushings needs to be reduced. I think that 0.7 mm on both sides will be enough for the latch to snap into place. We thought that the bottom of the rod would need to be sanded down in order for the snap ring to fit perfectly. I already wanted to install and test it, but I found that the sleeve has a backlash and this is unpleasant. Today I finished, we order the original sleeve, we will check if there is something else in poor condition. And only after installing the sleeve I will try to drive a car. I want everything to be in perfect condition. Finally, I waited for the sleeve that I will install in this rod. Now I will change the part and will install it in the car. We have already changed the short shifter, I have already ridden and I like everything. The lever has become a little lower but not significantly, everything else is fine. If you set the short shifter correctly and everything will be free of play, then everything will work like a Swiss watch. I say this because some people wrote to me on Instagram that everything is loose and there are big backlashes. No. I picked up the rubber bands, filed the sleeve a little. Changed front rubber mounting for axle and engine mounting. And everything turned out great. Look. I'm changing gears now. And the reverse gear path became very short. Here it is even further. In short, everything is very clear, I have already tested everything, I like it. Here is such a beautiful salon that you can look at it for hours, this is 1984. I just walk around and lick my lips when I see the state of the interior. And everything seems to be fine, I should already ride and not touch the car. But I still wanted to improve something and I chose heated front seats. There is no skin in the center and it will be hard to freeze, but I like it to be warm. Because after driving this car for a week, something will hurt and pinch or prick, I don't want this. And of course I installed heated seats, let's see. I dismantled the seats, access is already there. If I put a heater in there, it should be fine. I bought original buttons from BMW E30. In order not to install Chinese, I connected the heating, both modes work without problems. I removed this part and I want to install the same original BMW buttons in it. At the factory, They are restored here and now I will make holes. That's all, the heating is in place, I started the car, the seats are warm, it's just a buzz. This episode is coming to an end. Many do not understand why I bought such an old car. I will answer you that I like to play, to build or remake something, it's in my blood. I have long dreamed of such a car, and it is also quite fast today. If you drive 402 meters in 13 seconds, then you can really go for a drive or participate in competitions with someone. But I will do all this in peacetime and I hope that it will come soon. Somewhere on this car you can turn sideways, although I am not a drifter or a racer, but I really wanted such a car. I will call it universal, you can build something and hang tuning, drive, a little drift, in general, I like it. Of course, over time, I will want to sell this car, because I need to go further, take on new projects and new interesting things. What else will I do with this car? This will already be in the next episode, where I will tell you everything and show you. But I will reveal a little secret. It has an original body kit, worth 3,000 to 4,000 euros. Write in the comments what kind of body kit it is and what it is called and more. This part is very difficult to find for this car. There are fiberglass copies, but I want to install the original. I already have this harness. I also have a turbocharger. In general, I have a lot of delicious things for this car. And now I want to ask you, what wheel should I choose for this car? I have already selected the model. I will now insert a photo, there will be 3 of them, number 1, 2, 3. All rims are the same, I want a width of 8.5 front and rear, because I do not want to install 10 in the back, I do not like when the rim sticks out further than the car. I don't want to see rubber as a house. The shelf will be polished, the center will be silver, and around the bolts will be gold. It seems to me that this would be the most interesting option on this car. I'd paint the calipers the same color as those bolts, what do you think? There is also a second model. These bolts are chrome-plated. And number 3 where the center is painted gold, and the bolts are gold-colored, and the shelf itself is polished and the central cap is chrome-plated. Let's choose together the most beautiful rims for the most beautiful BMW E30 in Ukraine.